What I learned when buying a new fridge. Yes, it's a strange title, but for one episode 168, Wednesday episode in the lovely July, and it's middle of the summer, I'm enjoying it. Are you? Are you off work? Are you on holiday? Are you still listening to my podcast? Bless your cotton socks if you are. If you are, why not give a little review while you're lying there on your sunbed? I think if you listen to it on your iPhone, I think if you click the artwork, the image on the podcast, it will then offer a thing to give a review. Otherwise, just go into iTunes on your desktop. It's the only way I can tell if you're enjoying the show. It's much appreciated. Thank you very much for all those who have given their reviews. I believe only one isn't 5 stars. That's got to be good. Anyway, back to this. So I had to buy a new fridge. Okay, and this isn't a main one for somewhere where I'm all the time, so I didn't need an expensive fridge. A fridge, refrigerator, whatever you want to call it. So I'm buying this in the UK. Now, I looked online. Firstly, I was quite surprised that a lot of the suppliers that used to sell what you call big electricals, white goods, fridges, things like that, no longer do sell them online. Now that's interesting. So the big supermarkets, Tescos and Sainsbury's and so on, I found that that they had reduced down to smaller domestic appliances, suggesting there's no money in it, not worth their effort, or suggesting that the big suppliers don't want to supply them. Who knows? But there weren't that many choices. Now, when I looked around, I wanted to know what will fit in the freezer of my fridge. And something like, it's not that I eat quite healthy, but occasionally my lad comes around and we might have a pizza. Large frozen pizzas are quite big. Do they fit in a freezer? Now, I looked and there were photos, and there were some had close-ups, some didn't even have photos of the things with the doors open. They had the dimensions and everything, but the information on some was great, something like AO.com, Appliances Online, excellent information, but not on every product. And when it came down to the little details, the things that if you go to a shop and you can see for real, or if you ask someone over the phone, they'll tell you, that information was not there. And I thought, what an opportunity for somebody to stand out. What an opportunity for a small business to stand head and shoulders above the large ones by just providing extra information. This, by the way, is what I learned from buying a fridge. So, in the end, to make doubly sure, because I could not tell, I went, in the UK, we have a large electrical supplier. Like in the USA, you've got Best Buy. By the way, Best Buy tried it in the UK, lasted about a year, shut down, couldn't do it. So we have Currys, and that's the big one, Currys, PC World, and all merged with Carphone Warehouse now. But Currys are a large national electrical place. So I went to their shop, their big store, and I thought I'd have a look there, then take a picture of the part number, go back and buy it online somewhere cheaper. Another thing to know. So Currys, when they put those, that's what everyone's doing. Now they know that, but that is what everyone's doing. They're going to look at it in real life, going and seeing if it's cheaper online, buying it somewhere else. Make a note, Currys, just make sure you are the cheapest, then they'll still buy it from you. But I could open the fridges and I could find out that the frost-free ones aren't as deep as others, so that those freezer trays might be wide, but they're not very deep, and things like that. But when it came to pricing, it was what interested me was the psychology, my own psychology of what was going through. So there were fridges that were like a fridge freezers, these couple of £100. Now I would regard those as the cheap and cheerful. They might be adequate, but one that's called Essentials range, and then there's a curry zone and so on. It makes you feel like when they call them that, I felt like they are the budget ones. They are not good enough. Why make me feel like they're budget? They have lots of features, but I felt they're not quite adequate, wasn't for me. So next to that, there's one that was £230, and it says it's £180 off. However, all the ones standing around it were around 230 odd pounds and all looked the same and had the features. But I could not help myself seeing the £180 off discount. That, in my mind, made me feel there must be something slightly better than it. Quite obviously, bearing in mind it was the same as the others, if they ever did really sell it for the whatever the extra £180 would have been, 410 is that, then they wouldn't have sold many, if any at all. So, and I know that, but my brain couldn't stop me thinking, ooh, this one must be better. Next to that was one that was smaller, but it had the addition of being frost-free. That was £270, I think, or £260. And although a cheaper make, and funny enough, the same make as the one I wanted to get, I'm getting rid of. Although it's quite old, so it's done a good job. But still, yeah, it's a bit iffy. That one said it was £200 off, and that was amongst others that didn't have any discount. And again, I just could not help thinking, gosh, that's great. I know it's smaller, but it had the extra frost-free. I know it's got, and it's all the psychology. So what this was telling me is that certain little signals will make your buyers think differently. And I'm going to be using those. If you wonder what I did buy, by the way, I ended up buying the one that cost 230 odd pounds because it was bigger. My son was with me and he made the decision. He figured it'll fit a big pizza in the freezer, and he liked something else it had in the fridge. I can't even remember what it was. LED lighting, I think it was. But that's what we got, and it's on its way. But we didn't buy it there. We went home. We bought it. We actually bought it. They had an offer, so we did buy it from them. They had an offer to buy it online that included something that they don't offer in the shop. What's all that about? Be an integrated business. Why can't I just buy it in a shop for the same price that it's online? I'd make the effort. Anyway, but what I couldn't avoid was, how about having a video on the page, on the thing that opens it up, not one that just is the one supplied by the manufacturer, your own video, open it up and talk about it, have a demonstration of what you can put in. Put something that's got measurements in it in and say, this is how big it, then hold up that box that says 12 inches by 12 inches, this fitted in flat. What a great thing this is. Put a large standard bottle of milk, a 4-pinter, something like that, in the door and say, or put 3 of them and say, good for a family, this fits these for real. Put real stuff in and then talk about it. Anybody can do that. YouTube is free. You've got no excuse. Do not make excuses that you can't compete with the Amazons and the Currys and the Best Buys and so on, because you can if you just think of what they are not doing and offer exceptional service to your clients, even online. End of lecture. It's coming in a couple of days, I think, the fridge. It is time for a friendly follow. It's Wednesday. Now today we're going to have a look at Denise Wakeman. Denise seems to have been online on social media since they started. She is brilliant. I see her everywhere. She's from LA. She is lovely. I've seen webinars and the number of people who have had her lessons, her learnings, and give testimonials is fantastic. But it's safe to say, as she teaches social media and she teaches online visibility, which is what I like, and she has a 30-day challenge. Go and look up, I think her website is denisewakeman.com, but you'll find anything if you just Google Denise Wakeman. All her social media properties are very well optimized, and she practices what she preaches. She is great. Please go and watch what she does. If you're tempted, even take one of her simple, cheap courses. Everybody gets results.